Now we started the first chapter, electric charges and fields. Now we will come across so many incidences. That is, whenever we are taking out a sweater or synthetic cloths, we observe some charges and they are making cracking sounds. And also in nature we have observed that during thunderstorm we have observed lightning, which is nothing but a discharge of electric charges. And also even in some cases, whenever you switch on a olden TV which is having a cathode ray tube or a computer monitor, and if you bring the hands very close to that TV or the monitor, we will observe that our hairs got straightened up. These examples illustrate that some objects gets charges and those static charges gets discharged through our body. And also we have observed some examples. If you are going to open door of a car, we get an electric shock. Or if you are traveling in a bus, when a suddenly brake is applied, we are slided on the seat, and if you hold that metal rod, we get an electric charge. Now all these examples illustrate that there is a discharge of charges through our body. And these charges which are at rest are called static charges. Now in this chapter we are going to study regarding the static charges. The branch of physics which deals with the charges at rest and also deals with the electric force, field and potential arising from charges at rest is called electrostatics. Now the branch of physics which deals with the forces, fields and potentials arising due to static charges, that is charges at rest. Now we will give some other examples also. If you have a dry hair and take a plastic comb and comb the hairs, after combing it, if I place that comb over some small pieces of paper, that comb is going to attract the small pieces of paper. It is one example. And one more example, take a straw, two straws, and keep one straw like this. Have one straw like this. And take the another straw and rub it with your hand in one direction. If you rub it in one direction, the second straw, and take a pin and support it here over the first straw, like this. Now this is the first straw, and this is the second straw which is rubbed with your fingers, and with a pin, with the help of a pin, it is pivoted over the first straw. Now bring your fingers close to that straw. Your fingers are going to attract that straw. Now these examples also illustrate the presence of static charges. The discovery of these static charges was first observed by Thales of Miletus. Thales of Miletus from Greece. He first observed that he took an amber. It is a material which was found, which is a material which was yellow resinous material found on the shores of Baltic Sea. Now this amber, it is also a material which is obtained from the hardened sap of a tree, just like pine tree sap. Now this amber, when it is rubbed with silk or wool, it is going to attract lighter particles like straws, pith ball, and even paper pieces. Now this was first observed by Thales of Miletus, and he was named as the father of this static electricity. And also, after these observations, some other pairs of materials were taken out and they are rubbed with each other, and we are observing the same result. We should take the substances of suitable pairs. We are not taking one object and taking the another object which are not at all related and we are going to rub. No, it is not happening like that. You have to take a proper substances. For example, take a glass rod. Now rub with wool or silk cloth. Now take a glass rod and rub it with wool or silk rod. Then these materials, after rubbing, if you place these glass rods or wool or silk over lighter materials, they are going to attract some lighter insulated materials. Now, as and when we rub them, they get additional charges, and that we call it as electrification. If an object receives an additional charge, then that object is said to be charged or electrified. Now here glass rod is rubbed with wool or silk. There is a transfer of charges. Here we will consider electrons. Now glass is going to lose the electrons. Therefore the glass rod becomes positively charged. And wool or silk is going to receive the electrons. It becomes negatively charged. As and when these two are rubbed each other and held over certain lighter insulating materials, they are going to attract. Now after rubbing, if you bring back them once again, they neutralize each other. They neutralize each other and no longer attract the insulating materials. Now we will conduct some experiments. Now we will taking a glass rod. Now this is a glass and rubbed with silk. As and when glass rod is rubbed with this silk cloth, now this glass rod is going to lose electrons which are loosely bound to the glass atom. Now in the atomic structure we know that an atom consists of a central nucleus which is positively charged. Now in the nucleus we are having protons and neutrons. The electrons are revolving in the external stationary orbits. There are so many number of electrons which are revolving outside. And if you consider the another electron here, now here this is the innermost electron which is tightly bound to the nucleus, and it is less lightly bound, and this is loosely bound to the nucleus since it is far away from the nucleus. Now in this rubbing process, we will get heat energy because of the friction. Now that heat energy is sufficient for the outermost electron, and it receives it and it leaves it from that material. It is emitted out from the material. In this manner, glass is going to lose this outermost electron, and these electrons gets received by the silk cloth. So therefore glass becomes positively charged and silk becomes negatively charged. Now here, if you consider a glass which is having, now this material is having 100 protons and 100 electrons. Now this material is having 200 protons and 200 electrons. Now these numbers are given for for our convenience. Now these materials having an Avogadro number of materials, that are particles. So for convenience, for just for simplicity, we have chosen here 100 and here as 200. Now for proton, we have having a conventionally a positive charge, which is arbitrarily chosen, and electrons are having a negative charges like that. So 100 proton plus 100 electron, this is positive and negative, therefore total charge remains 0. It is neutral. Now here also this cloth having 200 protons and 200 electrons, therefore it is also electrically neutral initially. As and when we rub these two objects, when glass is rubbed with silk, friction takes place. Because of the friction, heat energy is released, and some of the outermost electrons which are present in the glass rod, they absorb this heat energy and they jump from the glass material to the silk material. Since they are loosely bound, there is a transfer of electrons from one body to the another object, from one object to the another object. The electrons are going to transfer from glass to the silk. Let us consider some 20 electrons are transferring in this process. We will assume that. You may ask, why only electrons are transferring? Why not the protons are transferring? Since protons are well inside the nucleus, it is highly impossible to move the protons from one material to the another material. It is easy to move the electrons since they are outside the nucleus. That's why we have chosen 20 electrons are gets transferred. When 20 electrons are moving from glass rod to the silk cloth, now initially 100 electrons we are having, now 20 electrons are leaving the material, so therefore here becomes 80 electrons. Now in the glass, after rubbing, we are having only left with 80 electrons, but protons are 100. Now 80 electrons having negative charge, and here 80 protons having positive charge, their net charge becomes 0. But we have excess of 20 protons. 20 protons are in excess, their charge is positive, and hence after rubbing, this glass becomes positively charged. Glass becomes positively charged. Now look here at this silk material. Initially it has 200 proton, 200 electron, therefore the net charge is 0. Now it is going to receive additional 20 electrons. It is going to receive additional 20 electrons. Now 200 protons and 200 electrons, their charges becomes 0. Therefore this material is having additional of 20 electrons. Therefore electrons is having a negative charge. The net charge of this material after rubbing becomes negative. Now this is how the materials gets positive charge and negative charge when rubbed with each other. Now these excess 20 electrons contribute for negative charge of this silk material. Okay. Now we will have some other examples for this one. Now we have taken a glass rod rubbed with wool or silk, glass becomes positive and wool becomes negative. Now take a plastic rod. When it is rubbed with cat's fur, when plastic rod or ebonite rod is rubbed with cat's fur, here what happens? This cat's fur is going to leave the electrons. It's going to lose the electrons. Therefore, cat's fur becomes positively charged, and the plastic rod becomes negatively charged because it is going to receive the excess electrons. Before rubbing, this is neutral and this one is neutral. After rubbing, there is a transfer of electrons from cat's fur to the plastic rod. Since cat's fur is going to lose the electrons, it becomes positively charged, and a plastic rod, it is going to receive the electrons, therefore it becomes negatively charged. Now we will consider some other experimental aspects. Now take the first rod, glass rod. Now we are having a glass, and it is fixed with the help of a nylon thread. And assume that the glass rod is initially it is positively charged. Now bring the another glass rod which is also positively charged. Now what we will observe, when two glass rods which are initially charged, that is rubbed with wool or silk, when they are brought very close to each other, they are going to repel. They repel each other. This is the first observation. Now one more observation. Now take two plastic rods. Now this is plastic rod which is having negatively charged, and another plastic rod which is also rubbed with cat's fur which is also negatively charged. They are being very close to each other. They will observe that they are going to repel each other. So two glass rods which are initially rubbed with wool or silk or brought close to each other, they observe that they repel each other. Similarly, two plastic rods, when they are rubbed with cat's fur and brought very close to each other, they are going to repel each other. From these two observations, they found that the like charges repel. Like charges repel. Now they have done one more experiment. They have a glass rod which is rubbed with silk. Now it becomes positively charged. To this glass rod, they are bringing a negatively charged plastic rod. Now this plastic rod is rubbed with cat's fur. As and when they are brought very close to each other, they are going to attract each other. A plastic rod which is positively charged and a plastic rod which is negatively charged, glass rod which is positively charged are brought very close to each other, they are going to attract each other. Similarly, the cat's fur and silk cloth, when they are brought very close to each other, they are also going to attract each other. Since cat's fur is positive and wool or silk it is negative, they are going to attract each other. Now this observation leads to the conclusion that unlike charges attract each other. Now these simple experiments leads to the conclusion of properties of charges. Like charges repel and unlike charges attract each other. So later onwards, some scientists conducted so many experiments. Among them, an American scientist, Benjamin Franklin, proposed that there are two kinds of charges. One is the positive charge, another one is the negative charge. There are two kinds of charges. One is positive charge and another one is the negative charge. That was first proposed by an American scientist, Benjamin Franklin. Now this property of the charge which is going to distinguish the types of charges is called polarity. The property of the charges which is going to distinguish the kinds of charges, that is, one is the positive charge, another one is the negative charge, is called polarity. Now onwards, there are two kinds of charges, one is the positive charge and another one is the negative charge. Now here, the plastic rod is rubbed with cat's fur, plastic rod becomes negative charge and cat's fur becomes positive charge. Now how these materials gets charged? Now here what we have taken the materials, they are insulating materials. Those materials are so chosen, they have a proper relation among them so that one is going to lose the electron and another object is going to receive the electrons. So here it is not possible to get electrification when glass rod is rubbed with cat's fur. It is not possible. Or plastic rod is rubbed with wool or silk. It is not possible. How to rub glass rod only with wool or silk? They have a proper combination of two objects. The plastic rod or ebonite rod is rubbed with cat's fur. They have a proper combination of the two materials. In the similar way, if we are having a proper combination of two materials and if you rub each other, we get electrification. Then what is electrification? The sharing of excess electrons from or transferring of excess electrons from one material to the another material leads to electrification. So here after rubbing, those materials are said to be electrified. Now let me define electric charge. What is an electric charge? It is the inherent property of an object, material object, which is responsible for electrostatic force between the two objects, which proposes electrostatic phenomenons. Electrostatic behavior is called as electric charge. Now, how you came to know that an object is charged? Now we have taken a glass rod. It is rubbed with silk. What happened? It is going to lose the electrons, it becomes positively charged. It is going to receive the electrons, it becomes negatively charged, that we know. Now how you know that this is charged after rubbing? Now that is detected by using an instrument called, simple instrument called gold leaf electroscope. Gold leaf electroscope. It consists of a rod, long rod, metal rod it consists. At the end we are having two gold leaves. Sheets of gold are connected at the end. Now it is housed in a box. It is housed in a box. Now we have a metal ball here. Now this is the simple arrangement. Now as and when this charged material or glass rod is made in contact to this ball, the charges gets transferred. They are traveled because it is a conductor and gets accumulated at the gold leaves. As and when these charges accumulated at the gold leaves, the leaves are going to separated because of the property of the like charges repel each other. Therefore, they will move apart leaves. Now, this simple arrangement shows that glass rod, after rubbing with the silk, gets charged. Similarly, you can place this silk to this gold leaf electroscope that indicates whether it is charged or not. Now, this is an instrument used to detect whether the material is charged or not. Now, here we have studied the insulating materials. We have taken the insulating materials. If I take a metal, which is a conductor, and rub it with another material, can that metal rod becomes charged? No. Because since metal is a conductor, metal rod is a conductor, when it is rubbed with other substance, if that metal rod gets charged, those charges pass through our body and enters the earth's surface, and hence metal conductors which are barely handed will not electrified by friction method. If that metal rod has an insulating handle, now this is a metal rod, if I consider a rod here, now we have an insulating wood handle or insulating handle if it contains. If then we rub, then it can be electrified. Barely if you hold that rod, those excess charges they have received, they pass through our body to the earth. Now we will have materials. Those are classified as conductors and insulators. Now conductors. These are the materials which allows electric charges to pass through them easily. The materials which allows electric charges and hence electric current that we will study in the subsequent chapters. The materials which allow the passage of charges easily are called conductors. Metals are the best good conductors. On the other hand, insulator. The materials which do not allow the passage of charges through them, the passage of current through them, they are not going to allow the passage of current, and those materials they are called as insulators. Example: paper, rubber, plastic, porcelain, glass, all these are insulating materials. Now since it is an insulator glass, when it is rubbed with the silk, the charges accumulated only at a particular point, position, at this region only. Now these charges will not move from one end to the other end of the glass because the glass is an insulator. Remember that one. So that is the difference between the conductors and the insulators. Now in the case of this insulators, the insulators gets charged only when by the method of friction. We are going to study the types of electrification. The types of electrification, the first type is friction. By this method, that is when one insulator is rubbed with the another insulator, they gets charged, and that method of charging is called friction. This is the only method used to charge insulators. Second method of electrification is conduction. That is, whenever a charged metal is made in contact with pith ball, that becomes charging by conduction. Now we have a glass rod rubbed with the silk, it becomes positively charged. Now we'll have a ball here or metal sphere. When this glass rod, which is positively charged, it is in touch with this metal sphere. Now these charges they transfer to the metal sphere. Now since this is a conductor, these charges gets uniformly distributed. These charges which are received from this glass rod, they will not accumulate at a one particular point or a particular place because it is a conducting sphere. Now those charges gets transferred because of the charge concentration. Difference in charge concentration, they gets uniformly distributed, and this method of charging is, and when you take out the glass rod, it becomes positively charged. This method of electrification or charging is called as charging by conduction. This is the second method. There is one more method, that is induction. This induction method. Now take the same example. We have a metal sphere which is initially uncharged. When glass rod is rubbed with silk, it is made in contact with the sphere. That sphere becomes positively charged. Now we have an initially positively charged sphere. Now bring another sphere here, which is uncharged. Now we have a positively charged sphere. To that sphere, we are bringing another uncharged sphere. If you call this as sphere A and this is the sphere B, now this uncharged sphere is brought near to the positively charged sphere. Now what happens? Initially it is uncharged. That does not mean that B is not at all having any charges. The second sphere has the charges. But thing is, how many number of positive charges it is having? It is having the same number of negative charges. Therefore, net charge is 0. They are having the positive and negative charges. They are equal and opposite sign. Therefore, net charge is 0. As and when this uncharged sphere is brought nearer to the charged sphere A, what will happen? By the property of the charges, the unlike charges come very close to one side. The like charges, they repelled out and be concentrated on the other side. Careful look here. An uncharged sphere is brought near a charged sphere. Because of the property of the charges, the unlike charges are collected to the nearer surface, and like charges get repelled and they are collected at the farther surface. Now if this is made to earth connected, those positive charges can be removed, and finally, so this B sphere is charged with negative charges. Now these, after removing these positive charges, if you disconnect this one from the earth, now these charges once again redistribute, and if you take it separate out with the sphere A, now this sphere becomes negatively charged. Now here there is no physical contact of the two spheres. They are only brought very close to each other. And this process of electrification is called induction. The charges in A are going to separate the charges in B, and removing one type of charges, then another type of charges remain in the sphere B. Now this method of charging is called as charging by induction. Now we observed one thing. We have removed these charges to the earth. Now this method of removal of excess charges from the objects to the earth is called earthening, grounding. It is also called as grounding or earthening. What is the meaning of grounding or earthening? The sharing of excess charges to the earth. Sharing of excess charges to the earth is called as grounding or earthening. Each and every instrument is connected with a metal which is buried well deep inside the earth. Okay, this arrangement. Now this is the earth. Now a metal plate is buried well deep inside the earth, and this other end is connected to our electrical circuit to the house. If any instrument or household things, electrical household things are going to have excess charges, those charges are leaked through this circuit, and that is called as grounding or earthening, and hence we are not going to get electric shock when we are touching that electrical appliances. If this circuit was not there, if you touch the electrical appliance, we will get an electric shock. Now that indicates that there is no earth connection. If you are going to touch the TV, or you are going to touch the computer, or you are going to touch the electrical appliances, if you get an electric shock, that indicates that earth connection has broken down. You have to get a proper earth connection. Now this sharing of excess charges to the earth is called as grounding or earthing. Now the taller building also provided with lightning conductor. That is also another method of earthening. Taller buildings, in a tall building, here if it is a building, we have a material, electrical material, and a wire is passed through the building and it is earth connected. Whenever lighting strikes here, now this conducting wire receives those charges from the lightning and passes directly to the earth without causing any damage to the building. That is called a lightning conductor. Now we will study three basic properties of electric charge. The first property is additivity of charges. First property is additivity of charges. Now this property says that the charge of an object is the algebraic sum of all the charges present in it. The total charge of an object is the algebraic sum of all the charges present in it. Now if I consider an object here, now this is going to have plus q1 charge, minus q2 charge, plus q3 charge, minus q4 charge. Assume that it is having 4 charges, 2 are positive, that is plus q1 and plus q3, and 2 are negative, minus q2, minus 4. Then what is the total charge of this body? The total charge q is equal to algebraic sum of all the charges contained in it. That is plus q1 minus q2 plus q3 minus q4 represents the total charge of this object, and this property is called as additivity of charges. Charges can be added algebraically. That is the first property. Second one is conservation of charges. That means for an isolated system, the total charge of the system is conserved. The total charge of the system remains constant. There is a possibility of sharing of charges from one object to the another object. But if you calculate the total charges in that object, the charges remains conserved. Let me give one example. Now I have a glass rod. Now I am having a silk cloth. This is glass. Now this is silk. Assume that it is having initially 100 electrons for simplicity. Now it is having 200 electrons. Assume that. Now this is a system which is isolated from the surrounding. Now in this system there are how many electrons are there? Now 100 here, this is 200. Therefore 300 electrons are there. Okay, in this system. because of the 100 electrons, we are having 100 protons. Because of 200 electrons, we are having 100 protons here, 200 protons here. Therefore, total charge here is 0, here is also 0. As and when we rub, the sharing of charges takes place. Assume that 20 electrons are going to move. 20 electrons are moving from glass to the silk. Now here what we are getting, 80 electrons are remaining here. 100 protons, therefore 20 protons are excess, therefore it is positively charged. It is going to receive 20 electrons, therefore it becomes plus 220. Now 200 protons and 200 electrons, their charges becomes 0, therefore excess of 20 electrons, therefore it becomes negatively charged. Now count the number of charges. So initially here 100 protons, here 200 protons, total is 300. After rubbing, there is no sharing of protons, therefore proton number is same. But in the case of number of electrons, initially here in the glass we are having 100 electrons, in the silk we are having 200 electrons. What is the total? There are 300 electrons are there before rubbing. Now after rubbing, what we have observed? Now 20 electrons are moving from glass to the silk. Therefore, glass contains 80 electrons. But silk contains 200 plus 20, 220 electrons. Then what is the total of these two? Once again, it is 300 electrons. Before rubbing, there were 300 electrons. After rubbing, the total number of electrons remains the same, 300. That is the meaning of conservation of charges. But what happened here while rubbing? There is a sharing of electrons. The electrons gets moved from glass rod to the silk. There is a sharing of electrons. But if you calculate the total number of electrons, it remains the same. That is the meaning of conservation of charges. That is the second property. The third one is very important property, that is quantization of charge. The fact that charge of a body or an object is an integral multiple of basic unit of charge, that is E, is called quantization of charge. Now here E is taken as charge of the electron or charge of the proton. For proton, it is taken as positive. For electron, it is taken as negative. The magnitude of E is 1.602 into 10 to the power of 19 coulombs, where C stands for coulomb. It is the SI unit of charge that we will study later onwards. Now this is the basic unit of charge. If you find the charge of any object, if Q is the charge of an object, it is found to be some integral multiple of N and the basic charge E. Now in the case of a glass rod rubbed with the silk, if you find the charge of the glass rod, it is found to be some N multiple of charge of electron. That means if he is going to lose 20 electrons, therefore its charge becomes 20E. Since it is going to lose the 20 electrons, therefore it is plus 20 into E. That is the charge of this glass. Then what is the charge of this silk when it is rubbed with glass rod? Now this silk is going to receive 20 electrons. It is receiving the electrons. Therefore charge here it becomes minus 20 into E. Now this integral multiple of basic charge of a material is called quantization of charge. Now the general expression for the charge of an object is Q is the charge of an object, that should be written as some N into E, where N is an integer. Either it may be positive integer or it may be a negative integer. Now from this one we can calculate how many electrons gets transferred from one material to the another material if you know the total charge of the material. Let me give an example here. We have an object whose charge is 1 coulomb. We have an object whose charge is 1 coulomb. Then how many number of electrons constitute a charge of 1 coulomb? For that one, we have to make use of this relation. Now, Q is equal to N into E. This is the formula. Q is total charge of the object, that is 1 coulomb they have given. N is the number of electrons that you have to find. E is charge of the electron. So therefore, from this relation, N is equal to Q by E. Now Q is given, it is 1 coulomb divided by E, charge of 1 electron, 1.602 into 10 to the power of 19. If you work out this one, we will find N is equal to 0.625 into 10 to the power of plus 19, or if you write it in scientific notation, I am going to get 6.25 into 10 to the power of 18 electrons. Now what we have got? 6.25 into 10 to the power of 18 number of electrons combined together will give a charge of 1 coulomb. That is the meaning. Therefore, 1 coulomb is a huge number. For that one, we are using smaller units, that is microcoulomb and nanocoulomb. Micro means 10 to the power of minus 6. We are using the smaller units of charge, that is microcoulomb. That is 1 microcoulomb, that is equal to 10 to the power of minus 6 coulomb. Or we are using nanocoulomb, that is 1 nanocoulomb is 10 to the power of minus 9 coulomb. Or picocoulomb, that is 1 pc, that is 10 to the power of minus 12 coulomb. Okay. Now, from this one we can work out how many electrons can constitute a body of charge 1 microcoulomb if it is asked. They have given a body, an object is having a charge of 1 microcoulomb. Then how many number of electrons constitute this charge? Once again, we have to make use of their same formula. So Q is equal to N into E. Therefore, N is equal to Q by E. Now Q is 10 to the power of minus 6 divided by E. 1.602 into 10 to the power of minus 19. 1 divided by this one, we have calculated this one. It is 6.25 into 10 to the power of plus 18 into 10 to the power of minus 6, or this is equal to 6.25 into 10 to the power of plus 12 number of electrons. 6.25 into 10 to the power of plus 12 number of electrons constitute a charge of 10 to the power of minus 6 coulomb. Like this, we are going to calculate how many number of electrons make a charge of a given quantity. Now this is quantization of charges, and C is the SI unit of electric charge that we will study later on. Now see this example. If 10 to the power of 9 electrons, that is 1 billion, that is 100 crore electrons move out of a body to another body every second, how much time is required to get a total charge of 1 coulomb? Now here they have given two objects. Now this is object A. Now here we are having object B. From object A to object B, the electrons are transferring at what rate? 10 to the power of 9 electrons per second. That means body is going to lose the 10 to the power of 9 electrons, that is 100 crore, 1 billion electrons per second. If it is giving out this much of electrons, then what is the total time at which this body B or A, since it is losing, it becomes positively charged, since it is receiving, it becomes negatively charged. In total, we have here in 1 second 10 to the power of 9 electrons are moving. Therefore, what is the charge transfer? Charge transfer in 1 second is charge of the electron 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 multiplied by number of electrons 10 to the power of 9. Now this is charge of 1 electron and 10 to the power of 9 electrons are transferring in 1 second. Therefore, what is the total charge transfer in 1 second is 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 10 coulomb of charge. That means 10 to the power of 9 electrons are transferring, means in 1 second the transfer of total charge is 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 10 coulomb. Okay. Therefore, time to transfer 1 coulomb of charge, that is obtained 1 coulomb of charge by charge transfer in 1 second. Charge transfer in 1 second. So therefore, in 1 second, this amount of charge is transferring. Therefore, the time taken to transfer the entire charge of 1 coulomb is got by dividing this charge by 1 coulomb. 1 coulomb of charge by this number. 1 divided by 1.6 that we have calculated earlier, 0.625 into 10 to the power of plus 10. Okay. R is equal to 6.25 into 10 to the power of plus 9 second. Now this much of time is required to transfer a 1 coulomb of charge from A to B. This is in terms of second. If you work out it in terms of year, 6.25 into 10 to the power of 9 divided by 1 year containing 365 days and 1 day contains 24 hours and 1 hour contains 60 minutes and 1 minute contains 60 seconds. Now this is in seconds. I am converting it in terms of year. I have to first convert it in terms of minute divided by 60, convert in terms of hour divided by 1 more 60, converts in terms of days divided by 24 hours, and convert in terms of years. I have to divide it by 365 days. If you calculate that one, I am going to get a time of 198 years. Look at this one. Now, per second, 10 to the power of 9 electrons are transferring from A to B. At this rate, if these electrons are transferring, to get a charge of 1 coulomb, I have to wait for 198 years. That is the hugeness of this coulomb. 1 coulomb is so huge number.